Wow! Welcome once again to the School of Articulation and Behavioral Alignment Clinics, a.k.a. the SABA Clinics. In the SABA Clinics, it is all about articulation and behavioral alignment for full expression, where we hold the family values so there. It's a vote 100% for the family values. My name is James Komolafe, and I am lead consultant at the School of Articulation and Behavioral Alignment Clinics, the SABA Clinics. We welcome you to your weekly behavioral tonic, which is the Behavioral Health Articulation Video Classics. Today we have a special topic titled Behavioral Health Awareness, 21 Risk Factors associated with personal and corporate negligence. In other words, what heavy price do you pay for ignorance and the neglect of your behavioral health, whether as an individual or as an organization? Analyzing your behavioral health, you are as best and radiant as your behavioral health. That holistic lifestyle, packaging and projecting out your inward realities and manifesting your outward qualities for that productive expedition is your behavioral health. Ignorance of the operations of the workings of your behavioral health is the first disease plaguing so many across climes. And ignorance is by no means an excuse. The behavioral health is an unforgiving terrain, reeling its backlash on the uninitiated. You know what? You can do all you need to do on a daily basis and yet forfeit your appropriate coordination. Daily energy expenditure could be likened to the burning of gasoline or premium motor spirit in the automobile. So what do you discover? You drive in, day in and out, week in, week out, your car without recourse to checking your daily variables such as the oil gauge, the alignment, water level, wheel balancing, of course the brakes, and other lighting coming up on your dashboard. What do you discover? The car will soon come to a halt. So the behavioral health is not all about what people even lack in terms of defect and deficiency, but what the people need to know in order to build the required skill set and relationship in order to obtain the right information and effective communication. So what's the import of these classics today? For all who desire long life and optimal productivity, the need to keep in step with your behavioral health statistical data is fundamental. Avoid the unwarranted behavioral poisons encroaching into your emotional reality. You can request freely for the behavioral health first aid test kit from the SABA Clinics. Let's together pick some vital lessons today about the 21 risk factors associated with behavioral health ignorance or neglect. Number 1, ignorance of some certain triggers, symptoms, and relevant treatment create a debilitating effect to both the general and the behavioral health. When you don't know, you certainly will not be able to flow or follow. Not understanding a trigger is to continually be under such a negative influence that fuels up that particular challenge. So what do you notice? Health deteriorates and productivity nosedives. falling flat to incidences of triggers and its accommodating symptoms will degenerate to both mental and a medical health challenge. 2. Behavioral health condition is elusive. Things go on without one knowing. Several causes bearing details of their effects. Certain inclination becomes evident and the implication grossly unknown. This, of course, poses a dangerous threat to the behavioral health. 3. The lack of the social and emotional intelligence that is greatly needed in relating with others may also be lacking. Meeting with people with similar situation poses relationship challenge. Inability to understand oneself and placing others pose a risk factor to the behavioral health. 4. There is a wide range of presumption and assumption resulting in fostering negative health values and well-being. Behavioral health index nosedives and the individual performance is also hampered. 5. Early detection of a cause before critical moment and stakes could be largely absent. Men carry go as though everything is okay until the emergency surfaces. Please, you don't need to wait for any eventuality before you seek a behavioral therapist. 6. When you wait for the 0 hour of crisis, one loses the peace of mind because of the lack of the information that could impact on right disposition. It is risky to carry on in that manner without your behavioral health statistical analysis on a periodic note. 7. Certain incursions, emotional encroachments, and pollutions defile the original life, thereby creating deviation and defect from the original definition. It is a risk factor than playing one personal definition and giving a place of priority to defections. 8. The incidence of superimposition is also a risk factor to behavioral health ignorance. Taking your condition as your definition is a behavioral sickness. Remember, you are not a human being. Jokes like that. You are a special being and not a doing. So you are a human being and not a human doing. You are different from what you do. Risk factor number 9. Workaholics are at a greater risk. You know what? No breaks, no stopping, no enough sleep, no recreation, no rest, until a sudden crashing. Of late, we lost loved ones to the cold hands of untimely death due to the negligence of the behavioral health. Number 10. Diversion or digression from one's personal values and tendencies tends to create a behavioral loophole. So don't be careless about your behavioral health status. Personal worth and virtues helps out, as this scenario also limits full expression that deters optimal production. Risk factor 11. Sudden debacle. Moments of behavioral and emotional arrest look evident. Compulsory imprisonment that one does not budget for can resurface. You just must have to switch off completely and compulsorily. A stitching, sir, Saves 9, people say. Get your behavioral health articulated periodically. Number 12. Many a time, wrong alignment of people with their behavioral patterns is caused by ignorance gaps. This is a risk factor to sound coordination and proper manifesting. Efficiency nosedives, and the rate of effectiveness also slumps. So behavioral health suffers a setback. The individual in the saddle struggles continually. 13. Emotional blockades and intellectual logjams distort daily equilibrium. This risk factor will make a man settle for the less and communicate a negative attitude any day. Stress and tension is a symptom of behavioral health imbalance. Never neglect your behavioral health statistics. Wellness test also keeps you in sync with your emotional equilibrium. Number 14, risk factor. The tendency of the sudden detection of fatal diseases such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and the alarming rate of other unforeseen contingencies leaves much to be desired. They stem at times from the poor handling of the behavioral health. For example, it is medically proven that the lack of sound sleep over a period of time can lead to high blood pressure and the early diabetes. It is far better to go preventive through adequate information than considering a curative therapy that will leave one perpetually in defect management for life. 15. Much activity and less result is a direct effect from a burnout. When output diminishes as energy input rises, you are behaviorally out of tune. Many a time, out of sheer ignorance, people read the wrong spiritual meanings to behavioral happenings. 16. Moral decadence and value erosion due to infiltration is a risk factor that is associated with the ignorance of the behavioral health. The long-run effect is a pervasive society where corrupt value system is not only installed but extolled. Individual defect, organization cut corners. Wow, behavioral health must never be compromised. 17. Wrong channeling of resources also surfaces. Treating the effect instead of the cause depletes both personal and organizational resources. You know what? Frontline organizations create a behavioral health alignment desk, BHAD, or engage a behavioral therapist on a retainership note for the service of their productive capacity. 18. Undue behavioral overstretching breaks the equilibrium and behavioral stability. How do one know his stretch limit, for example? The break-even points and the burst stress point. Investing in the right behavioral information is far better than paying for the ignorance gap of behavioral defects. 19. Many are caught in the web of uncontrollable thought pattern, wrecking their emotional existence. Where fear and intimidation looms, such negative thought could lead to addiction, and this is a serious dereliction of human and behavioral health. Last, number 20. Wrong mentality and pride is a risk factor as well. People ignorantly wait to seek curatives and sometimes the palliative measures. They feel inferior seeking a behavioral health advice until they are trapped. Number 21. After a brief illness saga is a terminal risk factor of the behavioral health. There is behaviorally nothing like after a brief illness that we often hear around. The ignorance of an internal crisis does not contain or term a particular negative procedure going on in a victim. Long ignore of a deadly behavioral issue can lead to eventual disaster, such as sudden collapse in death, which in effect is not sudden. You know what? An internal negative process of death begins little by little until it results to final and physical death. So what's the last line in this study today? The need to come out of these 21 dangerous risk factors cannot be overemphasized. Life, of course, has no duplicate. Live robustly and productively on a deliberate note. Obtain a free SABA Clinic periodic checklist for behavioral health, wellness tests, and the questionnaire. And rest your mind on these maladies. For your comments, inputs, questions, issues, and SABA Clinic procedures, feel free to share this piece and to email us at sabaclinics@gmail.com. The behavioral health, your ultimate gateway to full expression, is our most valuable passion. See you next time, and bye-bye.